potion. I ain't doing that no more. I relax myself when I'm being tested in my initiation into flow and love. I call forth all the blessings that belong to me from the north, the south, east, and west. Pull up. It's all coming out of hiding, so I walk into the very existence of I am, full of opulence, luxury, infinite value, and vibrational drip. 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 Vibrational drip. My birth is authenticated. I won't be owned by dark systems. I am a brilliant divine DNA that flows in my body, not Russian in race. My birthright is freedom. I am cash flow, liberated to a sovereign status. See, what I gotta know and own is that I am being trustworthy with cash flow and my energetic wealth. With divine support, I am searching my heart for any selfish ambition, pride, greed, and smoke and mirror endeavors. Flush it out of me, Most High. I'm a wave all by myself, calm, steady. My time and energy are currency. There is no top, there is no finish line. I'm on some get my mind right for my right money type ish. I won't hide behind my dopeness to avoid getting physically healthy.
So she goes on, but it is delicious. And so I'm just going to pause it there and then we will dive into the call. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Let's talk about money. Very excited to have you here and to see familiar faces and yeah, some new faces. Well, not whereas everyone's off camera, but I know that you have faces. So if you want to come on camera, if you're available to do that. So I'm not just speaking to myself. I would love to see you. If you are in the space, because money and pricing and sales is a very charged and activating topics. And so I just want to drop us in and invite you to, if you're in a place or if it feels safe and comfortable, to close your eyes or at least just drop your eyes. And whenever you do, to come back into your body. So I tend to put my hand on my chest and just kind of push so I can feel, maybe even if you just like touch your legs and push on your legs, feel your bottom in the chair or wherever you're sitting. Sometimes it might be soft touching on your arms, or it might be scratching, whatever your kink is, just to bring you back into your body. And a huge part of the work that we do around money is around feeling safe and building that safety in and trusting ourselves. And so it brings a lot of things up for us, old beliefs, old thoughts, old ways of being that are very activating to our nervous system, especially if you have had housing insecurity, food insecurity, rent insecurity. And maybe you haven't, and it's still very activating for you. We're all bringing to the conversation thoughts, beliefs, conditioning, capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, that affects how we show up and how we think and talk about money. And it brings up a lot in our bodies of a feeling, not feeling safe, not feeling deserving, not trusting ourselves with the money that we have, with the money that we're calling in. And so this is just an opportunity for you to sink into your deep knowing, your deep trusting that you can count on you, that you are safe with you. I trust myself to hold myself through this. I trust myself to show up even when things are hard or wildly uncomfortable. It's safe for me to be in this conversation, to be in this room. It's safe for me to talk about money. It's safe for me to be seen in my fears around money. And just let that sink in and come back to this anytime you have to have meetings about budgets or taxes, or you're raising your rates and you can feel the constriction and the contraction. Come back to the safety, the parts that you feel safe with, and come back to that. And so when you're ready, wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers, maybe move your body a little bit. And just let that, and this is why we do the movement, right? Just let that sink into your body. Even if it's just bringing it down like a little bit past your neck. Like I know logically something, but my body is telling me a different thing. See if you can just let that drop in just a little bit more into your body, like 1% if you can't get fully there. Okay, so let's talk about the good stuff. So I invite you, if you are in a place or if you do feel comfortable and able to come on camera, I would love to see you. Hi, thank you so much for being here. So money mindset, sales, pricing, all stuff that people are like, oh God, oh God. And if we want to quit our jobs, if we want to make the money and make the impact that we know we're meant to have, and that we're like our dharma in the world is to do these things, we have to be charging money, right? And then we have to be charging enough money to be able to pay the bills and not just survive, but to thrive. And so that requires a certain amount of income, right? And depending on how, I am a huge proponent of profit first. And so then when you start to look at your finances, right, you realize like, oh shit, I need to make like way more money than I thought I needed to make in order to have a financially responsible business, right? So just as much as we want to be putting an emergency fund away for our personal finances, and we want to have fun money, so not just like an emergency fund of like if shit hits the fan, but like I want to travel, like I want to have travel expenses in my business. So I have a bank account for that, right? And so we want to be doing the same things as we've been told in our personal life to have money just in case, put money away for your expenses. We want to have that in our business, which means that we need to be charging for our services. We need to be feeling safe with money. We need to trust ourselves. We need to trust our clients, trust the universe, trust the timing of things. And so this is when it can start to feel really hairy, right? Like, what the fuck? And historically, if you're working for somebody else, they are telling you how valuable your time is. So when you work for us, we are going to pay you this much money an hour, or you're going to get this much money for a salary, which tends to be even worse because as soon as you're salaried, they're going to work you more than, right, the 40 hours, a standard work week I don't even think that's the standard work week in America anymore, right? But you know that when you're on salary, like, yeah, you're going to get paid more, but you're also like kind of gonna get fucked on the hours, and they're gonna be messaging you on the weekends, and like there's more expectations, right? And there's a turning point when you're starting your business or when you're moving along in your business, that for however many years you were in the workforce or in corporate, someone else told you how valuable your time was. And now you get to take that on. And you're telling other people how valuable this program is. You're setting the tone and the precedence of how valuable your time is. And so there's a lot of stuff that we're bumping up to around the conditioning and all of that, that really starts to affect the money, the mindset, right? And then how much we're charging for our services. So I am curious. I would love to, I'm going to sneeze, of course. Hold on. Maybe not. So I would love to hear either in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, when I start talking about money mindset, when I start talking about raising your rates and asking for money for your services and asking for the amount of money that you know it's going to take to run your household, leave your job, give yourself a raise, what starts to come up for you? What are some of the thoughts or feelings or sensations that you have in your body? Yeah,
Lana here. Actually, I felt a sense of relief just because I woke up this morning and I broke my cardinal rule of reading the news early, which always affects my nervous system. I'm feeling all the layoffs, and I felt all of that crunchiness in my space because I used to work in tech. And I went for a run, and I just, hearing you talk about this just felt kind of like, you know what, I'm really on the space that I need to be in moving forward, and not having the guilt, and I think I always think about like staying out of people's pockets, and I sometimes get conflicted. I'm like, well, can I make it? And I thought about ways to maybe, have it for folks that can't necessarily afford it. But my biggest thing was just relief that we're having this conversation and allowing me to feel the crunchiness of any of the edges that I might feel that I haven't examined in my shadow space. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you brought that up, that like, this is like serious shadow work here, because there's so much here. Yeah. And I mean, nobody tells you this. I mean, no one told me. I try to like shout it and make sure everybody's very aware, because nobody told me it was very much a rude awakening, was how much personal development work goes into starting your business. It's like a master's degree, right? Like, because you think, oh, I've gone through coaching, and like, we're all here. I would say, I'm just going to take a wild guess that we're all here because we've overcome something. We've lived quite a life. We feel like we have some knowledge or information and skills to offer the world and offer our community, right? And so we went through coach training, or we did, I mean, maybe we didn't go through coach training, but now you're coaching, now you're working, right? And you think like, oh, that was enough. I'm good. Like, and we know it's like a lifelong process, right? But then all of the not good enough stuff that you thought that you worked through pops up. Being too bright, too shiny, too big. And that bumps up against everything that, I mean, I'm going to tell all of my clients, which is be your full self on the internet, and right, like tell everybody how great you are and how great your services are and all of this. It's in direct conflict with also, if we as women, it's in direct conflict with the conditioning that we've received of don't be too big, don't be too boastful, don't be too prideful, don't be too sexy. all of the things, right? And so this is going to affect how you're showing up, the prices that you're setting, how you're showing up on sales calls, how you're talking about your work, your conviction for what you're doing, the confidence that you have in your pricing, right? To be able to show up. And if someone questions like, why is this program so expensive? The work that you have to do to not be like, oh God. Or when you're on the call, on a sales call, and you don't shrink down when you tell them how much the investment is. You can stand confidently in that. Like there's just so much work that goes into this. I'm just going to read this. Karen said, I don't mind asking, but I always have issues with it because of being told no by my employer, even when providing the proof that I deserve it. Yeah. So Karen, does that mean like asking for clients for money? But then if someone were to have an objection or say like, no, that this is, this doesn't feel good. Yeah. Yeah. So you're confident in asking for it, but then like the response is what like, doesn't feel good. Yeah. Anybody else want to share what comes up when we start talking about money mindset, the pricing? With my Asian upbringing, talking about myself is in direct conflict with what I was taught. Absolutely. Had to really work through this. Only now am I getting more comfortable. Yeah. Hands down. There is hands down a cultural aspect as well. And like the community aspect. So depending on like religious or cultural, that you don't want to be like bigger than the community. I also know in Indigenous communities that this is something that I've talked to clients with, is that you're not supposed to, right? Like this is a collective. And so you're not supposed to be bigger than the collective. And so this is in direct conflict of what I'm asking you to do and what has to happen online, because if you're not talking about your programs, if you're not talking about your services and the work that you do, then nobody knows what you're doing or how you can serve them. Anybody else want to share?
I definitely got a body reaction in terms of, when you said about pricings and raising your prices, because I've just got my PCC, yay, and raised my prices. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
And I even heard myself do it, because I said, when I get my PC last year, I was saying to myself, right, when you get your PCC, you're going to raise your prices. And then when I got my PCC, I was like, oh, I'll wait till the summer. And then I was like, why? For what? For who? There is only n equals 1 in your business. So what are you doing it for? And so, yeah, I definitely still get body reaction when it comes to sitting with the pricings.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one of the part, thank you for sharing that, Ellie. So one of the biggest pieces that I feel is missing largely from like the money conversation and the pricing conversation is the conversation around the energetics and the mindset piece of raising your rates and making more money. Because I see this all the time. And I just had a one-on-one client who we've been like working through this. So we've been working together for years. She's raised her rates significantly when we've been together. She is like, she first started out as a consultant, and I think it was like $500 a month that she was charging. And now she's up to $2,000 a month, and is like teetering between like $2,000 and $2,500. And she works with high level entrepreneurs. And it makes sense, right? That her rates would be, she owns a 7-figure business. So it makes sense, like as a consultant, that her rates would be higher, right? And so she went to an event and people were like, oh, you need to raise your rates. Like you need to raise your rates. And I was like, yeah, you do. And if your body cannot handle this or manage it, you're not going to be able to raise your rates and show up online, let alone on a sales call, to sell this. So it's great to like throw that out and tell people, oh, you need to raise your rates. But if you don't feel safe, if you don't trust yourself to hold that, if your body is doing like weird things, then You don't raise your rates. And sometimes you have to actually lower your rates. And that's a big mind fuck too, right? Because in the industry, it's go, 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 make more every year. Like you should be doubling your income, right? That is it's just not true. The work, so, I know the title of this is like how your mindset is costing you sales. And if you are not, and this is what I mean when I say, like, if you're not fully aligned, if all of you is not on board, if you're not doing this work behind the scenes consistently, not just when you're trying to raise your rates or not just when you have like a launch, right? Like this is something that we constantly have to be looking at. So, and I've been having these conversations with my one-on-one clients a lot lately because like they're regulating to those higher levels. So they're going, I just had one-on-one client who just had a 26K month. That was her like largest in her business. And we've been doing the work behind the scenes to get on board. So 25K cash months are my new normal, over and over and over, and doing the visioning work. What are you going to do when you make that money? So no matter, I know I'm talking about the higher level, right, income, but wherever you are. So maybe your version of 26K month is a 5K month, right? And that feels like really unsafe and impossible in the moment, right? And this is why doing that work and getting curious about these pieces. Oh, what's coming up? What are my thoughts about this? What are my thoughts around people who say that they make that much money? How are you talking about money on a regular basis? Just like with your friends, like, I could never afford that. Or they get a new handbag and you're like, that's so fucking dumb. I would never spend my money on that. Right? Because that's not where you would spend your money. But like, and I'm like this, like, I just got like a $40 bag off of Amazon. I spend my money on food and travel. But someone might see my stuff, right? And be like, business class, what a fucking bougie bitch. Like, just fly economy. But once you lay flat, there is no going back. Right? And so like we all value different things, but pay attention to how you are judging the things that other people value and that they have money for. Because this all gets like, I'll never have that. I'll never have that big of a business. I'll never be able to do that, right? And those are the thoughts and the beliefs that just, they start to get cemented. And it's like, oh, this is hard. It's never coming. It's going to take forever. And you get to have the feelings. Like, I'm not saying like love and light them and just like pretend that they don't exist. Have the feelings, have the rage fits, make the fuck you lists, have the swamps. So if you're not familiar, so Mama Gina wrote this book called Pussy. I've talked about it in my containers, but she does this thing called swamping. And I've never gone through any of her programs. I've just read the book, but it's basically having a tantrum and getting all of these feelings out. So punch the pillows, yell, scream, have somebody witness you if that feels good. Sometimes it's just more embarrassing to have somebody watch you. But get the things out and be like, why does this bitch get to have a 6-figure business? And I've been doing this for 6 years. I've gone through coach training. She's like not gone through any training in her life, right? Like whatever the petty shit is that's in there, it's not going to go away by you just journaling and being like, 6-figure year, 6-figure year, 6-figure year, right? Like you have to do the things that actually move the feelings through your body. And this is the energetic piece. This is that embodiment piece that just goes so far beyond raise your rates. Well, here's a chart that says, if you're working this many hours, then you should be charging this much money and, charging hourly. So that's a trap too, right? Because we're creating an experience, a transformation. There's so much more that you're doing than just the one-on-one sessions, right? There's Voxer support. There's the energetic support that you're holding. Like I think about my clients all the time. And so I'll message them in Voxer and be like, hey, I just had a thought of, you know, the program that we've been talking about. And this is on like a Sunday, right? Like I'm still thinking about them. So there's this energy that you're holding for them. You're holding the vision of their business. Well, I'm holding businesses, right? But you're holding the vision of their marriage, of their relationship, of their, you know, speaking on stage. So whatever your niche is, so you're holding that for them. And that's a lot. And so this is the part that I am inviting you to really start to explore and really start to step into. Who do you have to be, and Allie, you didn't say what your rates are, right? But last time I heard PCC, it was like $250 minimum an hour. They start at like $250 an hour. I'm not sure if that's gone up. Is that not what you heard?
Yeah, I'm sure that's right, but that's not what I'm charging.
Right.
Not nearly, no.
Yeah,
not really.
right. And so like, who do you have to be to charge $250 an hour? And that's just like base, right? So like, let's say there's 3 calls a month. So what, 2, 4, 6, 750 plus. So those are just the hours plus Voxer support, copy, like I do copy support, we're doing things. So like, let's say it's $1,000 a month. Who do you have to be to charge $1,000 a month? And the thing is that you don't have to be anybody else but you have to think differently. You have to embody that person who charges $1,000 a month.
That was the other thing that came up for me. Sorry. Yeah. That was the other thing. Thank you. Yeah, that was the other thing that came up for me, which was people like me don't earn that kind of money because that's nobody in my family earns that kind of money. And, you know, you're not going to be the one necessarily because nobody else has. So watching the, you know, obviously it is part of what you've grown up with and how you've seen your parents, or, you know, I grew up with two people who and their money mindsets and how it impacts me. So there is all of that. And as you say, very much that is, you know, I don't get to earn that much money. Just, I don't, because that's not who I am. And yet, why am I here? Because I want to make that generational change.
Yeah. That is, and I see other heads nodding. Yeah, that is a big piece. Yeah, the family stuff. Same. Like when you claim, like, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. I don't know how the fuck I'm getting there. No one in my family's ever made anything close to that much money, right? Like, who do I think I am to make that much money? Who do I think I am to claim that, like, I'm going to be the first family millionaire? Right? But like, why not me? Why not me to be the one who breaks this and sets a new precedent in the family? Ooh, I just got chills. That's what we're going for, right? So like when we're talking about this, and so this is why it's important too, to be in circles where you're having conversations about money. Because this is so charged and so gross, and people are just like, I don't want to do this, right? It is so important, especially as women, it is so important for us to be in communities where we're having conversations like this, where you can see other women who have money, see what they're doing with it, how they're managing it, their freakouts about it. It's all going to go away. I mean, this is something that like I'm working on with my own coach all the time. It was a fluke. I can't repeat this next month. It's going to go away. My whole business is going to fall apart. Everyone's going to decide that I suck. And right. And I don't get to have this. It all comes back to, and it's just so funny how things go, right? So like it goes from 0 to 1,000 to my business is going to fall apart and I'm going to be homeless. There's nothing in between. There's no stop in between. It is like literally overnight. Oh, there's that's it. Right? Because our brains are just like fatalistic. Yes, Melody.
I just wanted to share or name, because I don't know if any of the other people, but I feel like this is also like, I actually would not be the first millionaire in my family. Like my dad actually did really well. And so I actually grew up the opposite. And so like, what I realized as you were speaking is actually like, I would be the first millionaire in my family who didn't like not dismiss, but like, what's the word? Like neglect other priorities, like relationships and the family and like, you know, experiences and all of that stuff. Like my dad busted his ass off and he wasn't really present. And so like what comes up for me around like having the business and making the money is like that I have to sacrifice. Like that's where my block is. It's like I have to sacrifice and like hustle. And like if I have that much money, it means I won't have all the other things that I actually care more about. Like money is just a means to an end, right? And so like, yeah, it just kind of like clicked for me that it's like, oh, I'd be the first person who has $1 million, but like does it in a way that's more balanced and healthy.
Like enjoyed the process, didn't
Yeah.
like desert, you know, family or responsibilities, and actually like it was a joyful million. It wasn't
Right.
a painful million. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. It's the reason I pressed my mastermind the way I did, because I could feel my nervous system wasn't able to back something higher right now, even though it is totally at least double the value. Yeah. So this is just so I'm happy that you wrote this. I didn't want to wait. So I just went with the price I could hold for now, and next round will be higher. Brilliant. This is such a great tactic, and I am all for this. And I was just having this conversation with the same one-on-one client too, that I was like, great, like we know where you want to go. Doesn't mean we have to just like rip the Band-Aid off and go right there immediately. You can raise your rates incrementally. Right? So if you know that you want to be charging $1,000 a month, and right now all you can show up for is 500, fucking celebrate the 500. Celebrate, because there was a point where you never could have fathomed charging $500 a month, right? Or 400, or more than $50 a session, or people are going to pay me to coach them, right? So really give yourself credit of how far you've come. Of when you first started coaching and you were doing pro bono, how long did you pro bono coach for? Right? Because you were like, oh no, who's going to pay for this? And you got over that hump. You're like, people pay for this? This is fucking cool. Right? And then you started to slowly, incrementally increase your rates. So I love this. We know where you're going. And this is also why I really recommend to all of my clients to really start to get regulated to those next levels now. And you want to like this, we want this to be a stretch. And by what I mean by this is like when I'm doing my mindset work, so I always start with brags. So I'm going to talk about what's working, what I'm celebrating, gratitude, and all of that. If there's fears coming up, sometimes I write the fears out, but usually what I do instead of writing all of those out is because like my brain is eventually like, I know these are all bullshit. It's just my brain trying to keep me safe. Right. And so then I will go right into reframing those. So depending on where you are in your mindset practice, if this is a regular thing, like I've been doing this for, I don't know, the last like what, 3 years now of daily. I have like a stack of journals, probably like this big, that has grown since I took a picture last time. So maybe you need to write out your fears. You just need to like dump them out and get them out and just be like, okay, these are ridiculous. And then you rewrite them. But let's say your fears are that no one's going to pay for this. And I can't manage like $5,000 month. Let's say you're going for your first 5K month, or your first, 15, 20, 30K month. we want your brain to start thinking like the person who makes that much money, feeling what it feels to make that much money. And so this is where, like, you're not just doing this when you're going to launch the program. You're doing this way ahead of time, right? Because, like, let's say you're launching your program and you want to raise the price. Now, what that means is that when you raise the price, you're going to be making more money each month. And so you want to make sure that you are thinking ahead. This is why I love having launch plans. I love knowing what's coming up, right? Because I know when I need to start doing work for one-on-one, my mindset work for one-on-one. I know based on my launch plan for the year, when I need to start doing my mindset work for the mastermind. Right. And so as you're raising your rates too, like, this is my new normal. Having reoccurring income and being able to predict my income every month, this is my new normal. These, like, whatever the month, whatever 10K months are my new normal. And doing the visioning work. So this is where you are writing out vision letters as if it's already happened. Let's say you had your first 10K month. What are you going to do? How are you going to celebrate? Who's the first person that you're going to text? How are you going to celebrate this with your coach? Are you going to go out to dinner? Are you going to treat yourself? Like, this is where this ring came from. I had designed this. This is my first 20K month ring. And it's diamonds and emeralds, and it looks like a fucking crown, and it says rich bitch inside. Had it engraved. Right? Like, so I have this visual every time, right? Of like, I see what's possible. You might not dig the jewelry. Maybe you go on a trip, maybe, and then you don't even have to spend it. Maybe you put money away into savings. Yeah, Paul. That's the best fucking story ever. Like, okay, went up to my bouginess. I love it. So how are you going to celebrate? Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to be? How does that person show up in the world? How are you going to move when you're making this much money? And we want this. And that's why, you know, in the grounding exercise that I did when we first started, like, you want to feel this in your body, even if you can just like imagine it for a minute, 30 seconds, because it's a big ask to like stay in that energy all of the time, right? But if you can really start to feel this and do the visioning work, do the, I don't know about that. I mean, the ring was only like 2,000. I'm sure your yacht costs more than that. Okay. So feel this, like, feel it, do the movement work, do the somatic work. I have tools that I teach my clients. You know, there's the emotional, like, embodiment stuff and the emotional regulation work that we're doing. And so this is the work that I do with my one-on-one clients. I have one spot open right now. It's for the whole year. All of my one-on-one clients keep renewing. And so that I brag. And so it's the one spot that's open. If you are thinking about working with me or working with me on a one-on-one basis, or even if you're interested in the mastermind, I would love to offer you the roadmap to 20K. So even if you're not, I mean, if you eventually want to get to 20K, we still want to talk. And so I'll put the link in the comments so that you can book the call, but I would love to chat and give you a roadmap so that you can have an idea of where you're going and how you're going to get there, because we want to be looking at your business model. What are the programs that you have in place? Are they priced correctly? Does your one-on-one make sense for the group program, for the other thing that you're offering? Do your offers lead into each other? This is super important, right? Like, if you're creating multiple offers, you want to make sure that, like, if you have an entry offer, that then the next step would be to join the next program, which would then lead into the next program, right? Because it's easier to sell to people who we've already worked with instead of brand new people, right? So when you build this rapport, you build this trust, so we want to be thinking forward of what kind of business do you want to be running? What do we need to start launching now and getting in place? And so sometimes, and I've done this with my clients, but I love to geek out on launch plans and like year-long planning. And so where are we launching things? And so oftentimes it's great. We're going to do this program this year. Next year, we're going to add on this next program. The following year, we'll add on this next piece. Sometimes it goes a little bit faster depending on like what you already have in place in your business, right? But it's the slow regulate, slow, right? Like we're going to get there, but slow and steady wins the race. I've seen so many people just like crash and burn because they're doing too many things. They're launching too many things. They're not refining their programs. This is also really where you're going to start to see things change in your business, is where you're running things again and again and again, because you can just get better results. You can predict what the results that your clients are going to get, right? I got call. I need to cover them with a blankie. Okay. And so when you're running programs on repeat, it is a game changer for your business. So I want to open this up to the Q&A and any coaching requests that you have. I know that Paula had a story, so I didn't know if you wanted to share that now.
Can do that. So I was in Ignite, Shannon's group program last spring. And at the time I had started coaching back before the pandemic, and then the pandemic kind of just took a lot of the wind out of my sails, and I had to do a lot of mindset work and stuff. And I was at around a consistent $5,000 month, going maybe in the 10th month of about 5K, but I just couldn't get over that hump at all. And I'm a slow learner, and Shannon's program, there was just a lot. So I had to like take everything that came at me and like 6 months of processing and doing before I could like really implement and get to the things. But it's some sort of in the middle of the mastermind. How long was that? Was it 10 weeks? I can't remember. But
what, Ignite?
The Ignite? Yeah.
Ignite is 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Mhm.
About 3/4 of the way through it, I signed a really huge contract to be like a fractional CMO for this really cool client. And I celebrated, like I said, by buying a yacht, which it was $12,000. So it was just one of my lifelong dreams. And I flew to Panama, and I sailed this yacht back to Charleston. And anyway, so I disappeared. So basically I disappeared halfway through this mastermind. I'm sure she was like, where the hell did you go? But anyway, that journey though, the actual physical sailing trip, all I did the whole time was work on my mindset and my money mindset. And I wanted to say, Melody, I came from a similar situation. I'm an only child, but my parents own their own business and they did really well. But my bedroom wall growing up was against their office wall, which was in another bedroom. And I heard all the fighting. I heard all the, why does she have to have ballet? Like I heard all the things laying in my bed at night. And my parents were so busy with their business that I was kind of like the abandoned child, just kind of took care of myself and grew up and everything. So that was like a real big thing that I had to get through. And right before I did Ignite with Shannon, I had been a caretaker for my dad who passed. And I had a lot of angst with him in a lot of different ways, but a lot of it was that, why are you in my head about this business? This is like my round 4 of trying to start something. And obviously I know how to do it. I just can't get past it. But doing the journaling stuff that Shannon helped me make a regular practice in my life, and basically writing books and books and books as I, spent 18 days alone, with one other person sort of on my boat. I just really narrowed in on it. But I just wanted to say I have the whole gamut of clients now. I have my very first client that I'm still only charging $485 a month. And I just re-signed a contract with my new clients, and the contract is 24,000 every quarter.
Yeah,
So-
buddy.
So like it just keeps growing, but this mindset about this money thing was just so awful. My ex-husband on his way out the door, I mean, his last words were like, "You're never gonna crack it. You're never gonna get it," you know? And like having to live through that, and then becoming the single mom of a teenager off to college and being solely responsible for her college. And I got the house and he got all the retirement money. I mean, I was really living in the basement for a really long time emotionally, you know, trying to pull it all together. But this mindset work is no joke. And the thing I'm still most resistant to, I'm going to put this out there for to be accountable, is this movement thing in the beginning. So yeah, I hold a lot of it in my body. But yeah. But anyway, that's kind of a weird roundabout way to tell my story. But I have like a lot of clients. I just hired my first VA. I don't know how I was managing like 17 clients on my own, and I don't know how. And I'm not a coach right now. My business has come full circle. I started out coaching women who are scientists and engineers, and I've been through coaching and everything, but their stories just kept hitting so close to home. I couldn't put that barrier. I wasn't really good at separating and holding that space for myself to be okay. So I kind of just hid in the marketing side of things and helping people with their launches and stuff, because I loved that. And I was sort of full circle, because what I'm doing now is helping a lot of people slow down. They hate this social media crap and becoming like more like thought leaders and getting themselves out there. So I think I'm doing more like on the PR land for people who want to be like thought leaders and things like that now. So I'm back to my scientists and engineers. So it's come full circle.
Yeah.
It's taken like 7 years, but
Hey,
yeah. And
I mean,
you've been
see,
a-
this is
you
the
don't
like
know it, but
overnight
you've been a big part of my
success.
journey. So yeah.
Totally. Oh, I love it. But this is, and I'm happy that you said like this took 7 years, right? Because like it is like there is trial and error. There is like switching niches or figuring out, you know, and figuring out pricing and figuring out where the shadow work is. And, you know, it sounds like with your dad that you had to work through a lot of stuff there, and
Trauma, abuse, the whole deal. Yeah.
yeah, like, and it's so common that the voices that we're hearing are a critical parent or a critical caregiver, or, you know, like provider of when we were growing up. And so there's a lot of stuff there to work through.
Yeah.
Love it. Who else? Any questions, training requests, coaching requests? Thoughts about raising your rates? Anything you'd like to try on or commit to?
Oh, that raising rate thing was really hard. It was really hard because even like just a year ago, I think I did the normal thing. I had the $97 offer, the $297 offer, the $1,800 offer. And I thought I was living the dream if I got somebody to pay $2,700, you know? And I think at some point I just said, fuck it. And I like wrote a proposal that I thought was totally off the wall and, oh, they'll never go for it. And there was no objection. I went, what? This is insane.
You're kidding, right?
You're kidding, right? I was like, who are you talking to? And then it was like, oh crap, now I have to do this work. You know? But that was kind of actually when I got the kick in the pants to hire someone. I'm also doing something where I represent a couple of bands and musicians and an artist who can't pay the giant amounts of money. So I, in my head, started a thing where, okay, I'm going to charge the businesses that really can, and help subsidize the other artists
Totally.
and people, right? And then what I started letting people do is choose which of my artists they want to subsidize. So I kind of made like a portfolio, like a talent book, because I am acting kind of like a talent agent. And I'm saying, hey, by the way, I've got this, it's kind of like a little private Patreon thing going on, which is really kind
That's
of fun.
brilliant,
Because
Paula.
one of my visual artists actually sold a painting to the offices of one of the corporate clients that I'm working for. So, I mean, it's been really cool. But,
This is so cool. Oh my God,
Anyway.
that's so good. That's so good.
but the raising the rates thing, like I said, I still have my initial client and she's so amazing. And I'm still charging her $485. And I just like don't have the heart to be like, can we do more? But,
yeah.
but I mean, she
Yeah,
means
I
a
mean,
lot
that's
because she's been
something
with
to
me for
explore.
like 4 years now. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
and-
that at the end of Ignite, I raised a standard rate. I think my like $1,800 rate, I raised up to like 3,100. And the first person that signed with me, I literally threw up. My body could not. It was like, who are you? What do you think you're doing? Who's gonna pay you $3,100 a month for this? Whatever. And then the value, I found myself like reframing my value proposition a lot, and it made it more manageable in my own head. Like I had to rewrite the marketing to myself in a weird
Yeah.
sort of way.
I'm
But-
happy. Yeah, I'm happy you brought that up because that's such an important piece too of like, as we are raising our rates, it means that we are elevating as people, right? Like our mindset. And so then as we are putting it out there, our messaging has to change because like our energy is going to change around it. So it almost becomes like a new program in a way, right? It's because because now when you're raising your rates, you're speaking to a different demographic of your community. And so as you raise your one-on-one rates, then now you can offer a lower investment group program, but it also means that you're talking to a different part of your community who have more disposable income, who are usually on the readiness to change scale. They're even on a different, right? They're on a different trajectory. This is also why you want to be focusing on their desires and where they're going. I mean, this is the essence of coaching, right? Like the essence of coaching isn't to focus on like where they're feeling stuck, where they're struggling. The whole essence of coaching is to look at where you are now. Great. We need to know that information for the marketing, but where do you want to be going? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? Who do you want to be? What do you want to experience? How do you want to show up in the world? That's really what you want to be speaking to, especially for your higher ticket programs. And so when we raise our rates, it's not just like, oh, I just changed the pricing. You're revamping, reimagining the program that you've been selling, but we're pivoting a little bit now. And so this is now you're like energetically shifting. And so you're shifting and calling in energetically a higher level client. And so that's also the piece that's missing. Yes, Karen.
Okay. So I was kind of processing like the right way to say this, and that's why it's kind of taken me a minute to bring it up. But so recently I just got out of like a huge amount of credit card debt. My husband helped me. I really didn't want to do it because now it's going to put us back on some of our other plans, but in the long run, like this is the best thing because it was credit card debt and it was fucking us over bigger, right? So like kind of listening to this whole discussion today kind of made me realize that like I know the value of what I offer and how much it can help people. But I think part of my problem, at least at this moment, is that I'm afraid of making more money because I won't know what to do with it because I have a proven track record of not making good decisions.
Mm-hmm. I feel this big time. I can really relate. Thank you for being vulnerable in that because I know how activating that can be. Do you trust that you're capable of making different decisions moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I've managed to stay sober for 2 years from like everything. So like, I feel like if I can break that pattern, I can break pretty much any other pattern.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, by the way. That's amazing. Yeah. So this is also where I invite you to start regulating and doing the mindset that it's safe for me to make more money. I trust that I can become. So maybe it doesn't feel like this is also where you want your mindset work to match up what you can hook, like what you can hook onto. So if it feels so far away where you're like, I'm financially responsible, I know exactly what to do with my money, right? Like if you're like, that does not feel true at all, what does feel true? So does it feel true that like, I can become more financially responsible? I trust that I will find the people and the books and the resources to help me become more financially responsible. Maybe that's what you need to say over and over and over again until eventually it's like, well, duh, like I know that there's this person and, you know, I follow this person and like I already have some evidence that I am more financially responsible. So then that belief gets to shift into the next level of I'm becoming financially responsible. Yeah, I guess I am. Look at the evidence that I have. And then eventually that belief's going to be like, well, duh, of course I am. Like I'm becoming, like eventually it'll become, I am financially responsible. Look at this money. Look at this savings. Like I'm fucking financially responsible. I did it. And then you don't just stop, like you keep doing that same work. I am financially responsible. I am creating wealth. I am doing these things because as you start to, like, it's not like we just like put that away forever. So it's, do you, do you trust that you can make new decisions? Do you trust that there's people in your orbit, in your community, books at the library, podcasts you can listen to that can help you change your money mindset and like your actual money management, not just your mindset, right?
Yeah, because like I think I mentioned this in biz school in the Facebook group in my brags yesterday, but like just like looking over the past 2 years where I've really been trying to make things happen in my business, I kind of feel like almost everything was not I don't even want to say was from a scarcity mindset, but it was just like okay, I have to do this because like I need this money so I can finally get ahead. And so I think that has just made everything 1,000 times more challenging.
Yeah, it's that hustle mindset, right? Of like, I gotta act, I gotta perform to get the money so that I don't get behind, so I can have the things, right? And it's just like over and over and over again, like a dog chasing its tail, where it's like, talk about activating.
Yeah, because
And
it's
panicking,
been,
right?
I mean, I'm an engineer and I've been doing what I do for almost a decade now, and I work for General Motors, so I make pretty darn good money, but like I've literally been paycheck to paycheck nearly the entire time, and I just feel beat down at this point. So
Yeah, understandable. So have you done any work, or are you open to doing some work around like what it's going to be like when you're not paycheck to paycheck anymore?
I haven't even started because I haven't even been able to like this. Everything literally just shifted. Like I literally paid the last one off yesterday morning. And so like the whole since last Saturday has just been like as much, if not more activation than the last several years, just because it's like, holy shit, this is actually going away. And it's like now I'm like looking at every credit card account, like, wait, is this actually a thing? And like, I'm just trying to like be human for a day.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're regulating to debt free.
Yeah. I mean,
And
aside from
having
student loan.
that feel safe. So this is like, again, like that trust and safety. So like having that feel safe in your body.
It's, I, should I just start journaling there? Like saying, hey, this is actually happening. This is really what's real, and just kind of start there, because
Yeah.
all the other stuff, like I'm open to seeing, seeing me learn how to be more financially responsible and all that kind of stuff. Like logically, I know that like that's the way to work to that from like thought changing, but like I don't even know if I can think about that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say like whatever's present and coming up for you in this moment. And I would even, if like doing something to just let this start like sinking into your body. And it like, I know that Paula was saying like the movement, it could literally just be this
Yeah.
as you're saying it out loud. It's safe for me to be debt free. It's the breath, it's holding yourself. It's just a little bit of movement, right? And then maybe eventually you're gonna like the song that I played and you're gonna sing this and like it's gonna be bigger and you're gonna have more celebration, right? But if all you can do is to start getting just a little bit, or like hip circles, or like a little bit of movement, just to start getting this to sink in, like, and saying it out loud is going to be a big help as well. Like writing it in your journal and thinking it in your head, it's just going to like ping pong throughout your body. But when you say it out loud and you're speaking this into existence, and you're like, there's something also about like, if you want to feel your vocal cords, like as you, like, there's just like, there's little things that you can do that make a huge difference. It's safe for me to make more money. I am debt free. I'm debt free. I'm fucking debt free, right? Like, and like feel that and just let that like reverberate into your body, and let it, and just like take it and pause and just let it sink in. Like, I'm debt free. Holy shit. Look in the mirror if you do mirror work and say it to yourself. You're safe. You're safe with your money. You're debt free. We get to do this over again. I got you. I got you, right? Like, you're safe. I got you.
And like, so tied in with that, like doing this mindset work, like as far as like forgiveness to myself, like does that, would that already come in naturally with that? Or is that something that maybe I should like add?
Yeah, that's great that you brought that up, of like, where do you need to grieve? Where do you need, like, where are you holding shame about how much debt you had? Where do you need to forgive yourself for some of the decisions that you made?
Okay.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Yeah, good stuff. It's so powerful. Okay, friends, thank you for staying over a little bit. I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you for talking to me about such a activating and triggering topic. And I could, talk about this for many, many hours, just because it's this piece will really change how you're showing up in your business. It'll change how you're showing up online, the thoughts and beliefs. Like, if you believe that this is possible, what else could you believe is possible? If you could believe that you can make this much money And then when you hit that goal, you're like, well, I thought that was impossible, but I just did it. Like, what else could I do? What other wild shit could I pull off? And you just start to really build that trust in yourself and build that confidence of like, yeah, I do got this. I do trust me. I can always bet on me. And I know that I'm going to succeed. Love it. Yeah, the poem. So I put the link in the comments. Here it is again. If you feel called to book a call with me for the roadmap to 20K, then please do so. And I will see you in my group. If you're not also or already a member of Reclaim Your Wild, please join me in there. I think everybody's in there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And I will see you soon. Bye.